Due to the limited monetization of true crime videos on YouTube, I have created a Patreon for those of you who would like to support the channel. The link is in the description below. Get access to ad-free content, early access, and exclusive videos depending on the tier. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Hello, and welcome back to another interrogation breakdown. Today we are going over the interrogation of Peer Khairi. I'm gonna call him P. P brutally murdered Randjida. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing everything, and I really don't want to disrespect her. So I'm gonna call her R, his wife of over 33 years, because she was planning to divorce him and apparently had been insulting him that morning over his lack of a job and his honor. He said these insults, along with the allegation that R came towards him with a knife, caused him to grab another nearby knife and attack her in self-defense. If it was self-defense, wouldn't you grab the knife that she's attacking you with? Doesn't really make sense. But okay, except for the fact when you look at the crime scene, it doesn't line up. R was found laying in their bed, covered in blood, with a severe knife wound to the neck that had nearly decapitated her, as well as other cuts to her body. That would imply he attacked her in the bedroom or near the bedroom and not in the kitchen where he said he did. And also, how would she have a knife in the bedroom if he said that she had the knife in the kitchen? It makes no sense. Also, why would she attack you when she was well on her way to leaving you and had a plan in place to do so, and she was only 86 pounds? R was abused for the entire 33 plus years she was forcibly married to P. She was picked in Afghanistan to be his second wife by his first wife, but only because his first wife could not bear children. P and his first wife loved each other, but they would call R a whore, even though they picked her to be his second wife in order to bear him the 6 children that they had. So then they all moved to India together, and they lived in India for 15 years. P's first wife died, and the insults became even more frequent, even as R begged in the streets in order to feed her family. Then P and R moved to Canada in 2003, and R began to realize she had freedom there. P complained that women had too many rights and that R wanted to be treated equally. P would go on to attempt the S word 6 times and ranted at R for letting his sons defy his orders and letting his daughters dress inappropriately. Because of the language barrier, neither P nor R were able to find work, but R was able to collect disability. In 2008, R reached out to the Afghan Womens Organization in order to get out of her marriage. Even knowing she would be shunned and blamed for her divorce, she was ready to leave. She had been the punching bag for long enough. She was caring for him because of his hurt leg from his car accident that he had been in a week prior. This is where P says she began insulting him and came at him with a knife. I bet anything he was insulting her and she was just done with it and began to insult him back, and he couldn't handle it and he attacked her. He then called the police and was arrested at his home for the murder of R. He talked to a lawyer and then is brought into this interrogation room. Okay, with all that said, let's dive in.
The voice you hear in the background is actually the interpreter. Sir, could you sit right here, please? Right here? Please sit down. Now, this is an audio recorder. This machine. There's also a video machine. If you see up in the ceiling, that is turned on to protect any question that we have said something that we have not said.
Should talk to my lawyer.
I know that he has spoke to a lawyer, and that is a private conversation and not something that I want to discuss with him at this point.
میگه من میفهم که یک صحبت خصوصی است. من نمیخوایم در اون باره گپ بزنم. بس خلاص.
This is
بازم که تو وکیلم گپ بزنم دیگه من چی میکنم من چی گفته میتونم.
Should also speak with my lawyer because I cannot say anything.
I understand
من میفهمیدم
that he has had conversation with his lawyer.
که خود امرای وکیل گپ زدی. خبر دارم.
بله
It is his right
میگه این حق خودت است.
بله.
under the Constitution of this country
میگه تحت قانون این مملکت
not to talk to me.
میگه که امرای ما گپ نزنی. این قانون این مملکت است که امرای ما خود نباید گپ بزنی.
Does he understand this?
میگه اینو میفهمی؟
بله بله.
Yes, I know.
This is my identification.
میگه این آیدی ما هست.
من نمیفهم خطا نمیفهم.
I cannot read the writing.
Just so he knows that I'm a policeman.
میگه به قصد برد میخوایم بگم که ما پلیس هستم.
بله.
عضو پلیس دارم.
I am Detective Barsky.
نام دتکتیو بارسکی است. یعنی پلیس خفیه بارسکی.
This is Detective Code.
اینا اصلا دتکتیو کود یعنی پلیس خفیه کود.
بله.
We work in the Toronto Police Homicide Squad.
ما امرای پلیس تورنتو کار میکنیم.
ما نمیم با کت وکیلم گرد این هرچی که میگیم کتلون بگیم دیگه من چی میفهمم من چی بگیم.
If you want to talk anything, you can talk to my lawyer.
As I said before, it is his right not to answer my questions.
یک قسمی که من پیشتر گفتم برای خودت این حق خودت است که امرای من گپ نزنی.
ما هیچ اصلا گپ نمیتونم گفته چی گفته نمیتونم حالا اعصاب ما بالکل نرمال نیست اکسیج نیست.
I can't talk anything. I'm not normal. My brain is not working.
So, in Canada, detectives have the right to continue to question you after you have spoken to a lawyer, and it is your job to remain silent and not answer any of those questions. I think the language barrier is going to make it tough to clearly explain this and have it understood. Also, it's a bit weird to me that the police can continue to ask you questions and you just have to keep invoking your rights in Canada. Seems a bit redundant, but I guess it's literally just to get as much information as possible. How do you guys feel about that?
Before we say anything about anything, I would like to just explain why we are here.
پیش از اینکه من هر چیزی بگویم یا گپ بزنم من میخوام برات بگم چرا ما اینجا آمدیم.
ما نمیفهمم دیگه خودم نمیفهمم.
I don't know. I don't know.
The gentleman in the corner, off the camera, is an interpreter.
این نفری که در کنج شیشته ترجمان است.
Who is not a policeman.
که پلیس نیست.
And not a lawyer.
وکیل هم نیست.
And not employed by the Toronto Police.
و همچنان کارمند پلیس نیست. I know that.
He is employed by a separate company.
که این کارمند یک کمپانی جدا است.
And we have asked him to come here today to assist with translation.
و ما ازش خواهش کردیم که اینجا بیاید با ما کمک کنه در قسمت ترجمانی.
تشکر بسیار زیاد از تشکر میکنم از اینکه من خودم زبان نمیفهمم. زبان انگلیسی نمیفهمم غیر دری.
Thank you very much for you coming here and since I don't know English except Dari.
When you came to the police station today,
وقتی که خودت امروز به استشن پلیس آمدی
a number of policemen had contact with you.
یک تعداد از پلیس ها همراه خودت در تماس بودن.
And spoke to you.
و همراه خودت صحبت کردن.
ولی مگر وکیل ما خبر نداشته بدون وکیل صحبت کردن.
Yes, my lawyer didn't know about this and they spoke to me without the knowledge of my lawyer.
Some of
گفتن که اصلا وکیل ما نبوده دیگه. ما سوال کردن ما گفتیم ما زبان نمیفهمم. ما کسی باشه که دلیل بفهمم که من باید گپ بزنم آواز شده شدن که تو هندی میفهمی گفتم من نمیفهمم دیگه زبان من نمیفهمم.
And I told him I don't know any other language and I only know Dari They keep saying that Hindi. I said no, I don't know Hindi. گفتن که من هندی نمیفهم درست؟
بله بسیار گپایش نمیفهم بله.
Yes, I don't know lots of Hindi.
I understand that some officers were English.
من میفهم که بعضی از پلیس ها انگلیس بودن.
And one officer in particular was an officer who spoke Hindi.
و یک پلیس بود که به خصوص هندی گپ بزنه.
بله بود مگه ما هرچی پرسان کرد ما گفتم ما گپ تو رو نمیفهمم نمیتونم من برای تو سوال جواب گفتن نمیتونم. دیگه از این من خبر ببخشین از این من خبر نداشتم که من از قانون این مملکت که تا که وکیل نباشه آدم باید گپ نزنه.
Yes, I tried my best. Yes, I know. I didn't know about that, and I didn't know that if there is no lawyer, I should not speak with to, and I didn't understand Hindi either.
Okay. The Hindi officer tells me in English
و او پلیس یا آفیسر هندی بر من در انگلیسی میگه
that he explained to you
که او بر شما تشریح کرد
in Hindi
به زبان هندی
your rights to counsel
که خودت حق داری که با وکیل در تماس شوی.
بله گفتن. وکیل ما باز از باز که شما آمدین باز وکیل ما چی کرد پیش از وکیل.
Yes, he said that, and after you came here, I spoke with the lawyer.
And this officer who spoke Hindi told me
و یه افسری که هندی گپ زد به خودت برای من گفت
that you understood your rights.
که خودت حقت یا حقوقت میفهمی.
ما اصلا گفتم ما قانون دی مملکتی بلد نیستم.
As I mentioned, in fact, I don't know anything about the law in this country.
Which part of what the officer said do you not understand?
Oh, that's a sneaky question. By asking what P doesn't understand, the detective is trying to get P to admit that he does understand more Hindi than he is saying he does. If P is able to articulate what he doesn't understand, then it will show that he did at least understand what was being said to him in Hindi. This is a very manipulative way to try and show someone is lying. If P truly doesn't understand much Hindi, then he won't be able to tell the detectives any specifics of what he didn't understand, just a general misunderstanding. Let's see if he exposes himself.
کدام قسمت از جملات از او افسر خودت نفهمیدی؟
و میشلست که تو برای من گفته برو که چی گفت چطور است من گفتم من نمیتونم گفتم من چی بگویم.
He was keep insisting that tell me what was the matter, and I told him that I cannot say. Okay,
دیگه شلای شده که من راستی هم نمیفهمیدم دیگه دروغ نمیگم.
And even though he insisted that I didn't understand and I'm telling the truth.
Okay.
Okay.
I would like to go back to those rights.
من میخوایم باز با حقوق خودت برم.
So that you are certain that you understand what the laws in our country mean and say.
که خودت بفهمی قانون مملکت ما چی است و چی میگه. Yeah, I should know that.
Yikes, they got you now. The detectives are continuing to talk to him under the guise of educating him on his rights in order to lead into an interrogation with him, which is blatantly obvious. It feels manipulative because the lawyer would tell him what the laws are in this country because it's also the lawyer's job to do that. The detectives can do it, but they're doing it in order to build trust and hopefully get P to talk. I don't know how I feel about this with somebody who doesn't seem to understand with the language barrier. I understand he's a horrible murderer, but what about the people who aren't criminals, who get railroaded by a different country's laws because they don't understand, and then they go to prison just because they're manipulated. Those are the people who make this behavior unacceptable from detectives.
The officer told you you have the right to retain and instruct counsel.
افسر برای خودت گفت که خودت حق داری که وکیل بگیری و باش مشوره بکنی.
بله گفت.
Yes.
اگر وکیل ما باز پیشتر شما آمدین باز صحبت کردن که
Yes, when my lawyer spoke to me, when he's pointing to the interpreter, when you came in and he talked to me.
And does he understand what that means?
خودت میفهمی که او چی معنا داره؟
معنیش این نیست که ما پیشتر هم گفتم که ما قانون مملکت نمیفهمم. از نگاه ازی وکیل کس وکیل میفهم هر چیزه.
As I said earlier, that I don't know about the laws in this country, and the lawyer knows about it.
Okay.
Okay.
But do you know what retain and instruct counsel means?
آیا خودت میفهمی که وکیل گرفتن و با وکیل مشوره کردن چی معنا داره؟
وکیل گرفتن و وکیل مشوره کردن وکیل از حقوق ما دفاع میکنه.
To retain a lawyer and to instruct with a lawyer means that the lawyer defends my right.
Yes.
Right.
But also,
همچنان
retain means to hire a lawyer.
retain معنایش هست که استخدام کنی یک وکیل برات.
استخدام کنه که پیشتر شما گفتین که فلانی از اون وکیلیت هست سواد محکمه میه برای گپ میدونه و ترجمان دری میه از تو سوال میکنه باز وکیلیت برش کفر بود.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I don't want to میباشم اثر میذاریم بگیم.
پیشتر خودتان وکیلیم که آمد گفته که سواد محکمه میری تو.
باشه earlier you said that tomorrow when you go to the court okay با محکمه که میری
محکمه که میری اونجا وکیلم میاد یک نفر که زبان مرا بفهمد دری باشه.
there will be the lawyer present and also a person who could interpret, who could know my language will be present tomorrow.
That's correct.
Okay, دیگه
پس دیگه هیچ.
and that's it.
But it means also that if you cannot afford to pay for a lawyer yourself, that the province, the government will pay for a lawyer for you at no cost to you.
و یه همچنان اتو معلوم میده که اگر خودت پیسه پولی وکیل داده نمیتونی ولایت آنتریو پولی آنتریو را به نمایندگی از خودت میده.
پرستاسین شما برای ما گفتین من پیسه ندارم هیچ چیز ندارم.
Yes, you told me that and I don't have any money.
یه خودتان شما برای ما گفتین درست است تشکر.
You told me that, that's correct. Thank you very much.
And do you understand that?
خودت میگه اینو میفهمی؟
بله.
Yes.
همه شما گفتین من فهمیدم.
Since you told me that now, I understood it.
And to instruct counsel means that your right is to give direction to your lawyer, to your counsel.
To instruct یعنی میگه وقتی که برای وکیل مثلا اجازه میدی
بله
که از حقوق خودت دفاع بکنه.
بله.
Could you just please, Officer Brisky, could you do that to instruct me?
To instruct means that it is his right to give direction to his lawyer.
To instruct معنایش است که خودت برای وکیل اجازه میدی و برای وکیل میگی که چی باید بکنه.
بله ما اجازه میتونم به شرطی که ما چیزی که من میگم وکیل ما میشه باید مرا بشنوه گپ مرا مشتر کنه و مقابل خود وکیل میفهمم دیگه فیصله شنه
I understand that to instruct means that I give him the permission to do work for me, and whatever I say, he writes.
Yes.
Okay.
But because you were in a police station,
بخاطر که خودت در استیشن پلیس هستی
بله
and you have been arrested
و خودت به حساب توقیف شدی
for murder,
بخاطر قتل
بله
and other officers, other than my partner and myself, have spoken to you
دیگه افسران با خودت صحبت کردن به شمول پارتنر من یا همکار
بله
من
بله بله بله
I don't want anything they have said to you to make you think that you need to talk to me.
I didn't understand this part. Excuse me.
I don't want anything that the officers have said to him to make him think he needs to talk to me, to influence him to talk to me. I don't want that to happen.
Okay. So whatever other officers told you, whatever other officers spoken to him, doesn't mean that you have told them. So I didn't understand this part after.
The other officers that had contact with you here
دیگه افسرهایی که با خودت در تماس شدن دمیجه دیگه افسرهایی که با خودت در تماس شدن
بله
I don't want that contact or that talking
اوکی اون محتویاتی را که اونا با خودت صحبت کردن
بله
to make you think that you need to talk to me.
مدتی که اونا با خودت گپ زدن یعنی خودت مجبور بشه که خودت امرای باید گپ بزنی
ما گپ میزنم مگر ما گفتم که وکیل ما نباشم چه رقم بزنم
I will talk but as my lawyers not here how can I talk
It is your right
دیگه این حق خودت است
not to talk to me.
که امرای من گپ نزنی این حق خودت است که امرای من گپ نزنی
But the highest court in our country
مگر عالی‌ترین محکمه در مملکت ما
the Supreme Court of Canada
یعنی Supreme Court of Canada یعنی کورت عالی کانادا
tells me as the investigator
برای ما میگه به شکل یک مستنطق
that I can ask you any question that I believe is relative.
This is so dense. Like, seriously, is that how you would actually word it when you speak to someone who can understand you? Like, can we get to the point? You're allowed to ask questions, and I'm allowed not to answer them. Stop with the power vested in me by the highest court in Canada, named the Supreme Court of Canada in 1895, the year of the great language barrier by Sir Twinklebutt IV, has giveneth me the right to question thyself. Bullshit. Just say that as a detective, you have a right to question him, and as a suspect, he has a right not to answer those questions, and it is on him to do so. But that would be simple and easy to understand, and people would be less likely to answer questions, so I guess you won't do that.
هر سوالی که بخوایم بکنم از خودت میتونم سوال بکنم به صورتی که ارتباط داشته باشه سر موضوع
ما اگر وکیل اجازه بدم من میگم
If my lawyer allows me to say or talk, I will do that.
It is your right to decide whether you talk to me or not.
این حق خودت است که تصمیم بگیری که امرای من گپ بزنی یا نزنی
ما خب بدون وکیل دیگه ما چی گفته نمیتونم
Without the lawyer, I cannot say things.
After you spoke to your lawyer,
بعد از اینکه خودت امرای وکیلت صحبت کردی
بله
you asked for some medicine.
خودت خواهش و خواهش از چی کردی از دوا کردی.
بله.
Yes.
When you came to the police station,
Let me correct that please.
I'm sorry.
Let me because I said something different. وقت بازی خودت با وکیل گپ زدی خودت خواهش از برای دوایت کردی.
بله.
Okay.
دوا و جای من.
I was just corrected because I said you asked for medication.
Instead of medicine?
Yes.
Okay. Perhaps medication is the better term.
Dawa, yes.
That you believed that we had here.
خودت فکر کرده بودی فکر میکردی که ما او دوا را اینجا داریم او دوا را اینجا آوردیم.
نه من فکر نمیکردم.
No, I didn't think that.
Perhaps that's my mistake.
ممکن اشتباه ما باشه.
نه من فکر نکردم دوا در خانه است.
No, I didn't think that the medication is at home.
Okay.
Okay.
This medicine is for what?
این دوا برای چی است؟
دوا یکی برای خواب است.
One is for my psychotic.
یکی برای خواب است.
One is for sleeping.
یکی برای دیگه است که اشکام درد میکنه و نفبات پیدا میشه.
One is for my stomach when there's pain it helps me.
Whoa, I'm not sure that P understands that in order to protect himself, he needs to remain silent. The fact that he's already answering questions about the medications makes me think he doesn't realize he's already being interrogated, or the fact that it's on him not to answer the questions. I think with the phrasing of the detective, it's not very clear that he has to continue to not answer questions in order to uphold his rights. It seems P may believe that by saying he's waiting for his lawyer, it will mean his rights are intact. I feel like this is taking advantage of the language barrier quite a bit.
و یکی هم برای چیست برای قبضیت.
And one is for constipation.
5 قسم دواست.
There's 5 types of medication.
Do you take this medicine every day?
این دوا را هر روز میگیری؟
این دوا رو 1 سال است که من میگیرم.
It's for the last 1 year. I'm taking this.
Every day?
هر روز؟
هر روز بله.
Yes, every day.
بله. شب دوای خواب 2 دانه میخورم.
At night I take 2 sleeping pills.
Yes.
دوای معده را 2 دانه صبح میخورم، 2 دانه چاش میخورم، 2 دانه شب میخورم.
The stomach medication I take 2 in the morning, 2 at lunchtime, and 2 in the dinner time.
و یک دوای دیگه است که 1 دانه صبح گفته دکتر بخور، 1 دانه شب. پول 1 دانه صبح میخورم، 1 دانه شب.
And there's another medication or medicine. I take 1 in the یکی صبح یکی شب.
یکی شب بله.
1 in the morning and 1 at night.
And what is that medication?
او کدام دواست؟
او دوایی است که هم برای معده است.
That's also for the stomach.
Okay. Continue.
Okay.
یک دوای دیگه است که برای قبضیت است که خود دکتر گفت خود کنترل کرده برو، فقط چی تا توسط نمی دوا کنترل کرده برو که یک ذره معده درست شود، چی فکر درست نمیشه.
Okay. The other one is for the constipation. The doctor told me to take it to control myself, my constipation.
Okay.
Okay.
What other medicine?
دیگه کدام دواست؟
دیگه پس دیگه نیست.
That's it. There's no other medication.
I didn't hear you speak of the medication for your head.
میگه من درباره دوایی که دوای سرت باشه میگه تو چیز نگفتی.
گفتیم دوای دماغ من، گفتم این دوای دماغ من تا پلیس گفتیم.
I said that for my brain. I
Mr.
even told to the police.
When does he
مستک
take?
که 1 دانه صبح میخورم، 1 دانه شب دراز است. 1 دانه صبح گفته و 1 دانه شب.
میرسم.
دوای صبح.
دوای صبح یکی صبح
یکی شب.
یک شب. The psychotic the medication is 1 for the morning and 1 for night.
And did he take all of these medications yesterday?
میگه این تمام از دوا را دیروز گرفته بودی؟ یعنی خورده بودی؟
بله امروز هم صبح که خوردیم.
Yes, even today I took one.
Okay. All of the medication that he was supposed to take up to that point of today?
میگه تمام دوایایی که بعد از میخوردی تا به امروزه خورده بری؟
بله.
Yes.
And what happens if you don't take your stomach medication?
The detective starts with questions about the stomach medication because they are such innocent questions, like no red flags on trying to get a motive. But that's the thing. The detectives are asking all of these seemingly innocent questions in order to develop the rapport with the suspect and ease them into a false sense of security.
چی گپ میشه که اگر دوای میدیت نخوری؟
نفبات پیدا میشه،
چی با چیز؟
گیس
آه.
گیس پیدا میشه، دشکنم با زنگ می سر میزنه یک دفعه صاحب مخ.
Just for the correction, I asked what's the word nafabat, so he explained gas.
Gas.
Okay.
If I don't take that, the gas will be produced.
Yes.
So it will, the sargagana,
بله.
it will head to my head.
Okay.
It will affect my head.
Affect his head. And what about the other medications?
دوای دیگه دوا چی میگی؟
دیگه دوا اون دوا که بخورم خوب می باشم.
The other medication that if I
همین
take
دوایی که داده
I'll be
دکتر،
okay.
همین دوایی که دکتر داده، یعنی میره که بخورم خوب می
All
باشم.
these medicines that the doctor prescribed, I will be okay.
تا دکتر یک چیز دیگه گفته که 8 بجه باید از دوایی تا بخوری و 8 بجه باید استراحت کنی. 8 بجه.
But the doctor also told me that I should take the medication at 8 o'clock and I go to bed at 8 o'clock.
So the only medicine that you must take every day is for the gas.
دیگه یگانه دوایی که خودت باید بخوری is برای gases.
بله.
Yes.
دو دانه صبح میخورم، دو دانه چاشت میخورم، دو دانه شام میخورم. دو رقم دوا داده. یکیش 6 دانه میخورم روزه، یک دو تا صبح است، دو تا چاشت است، دو تا شب است. 6 تا شده.
Okay.
و یکی دیگه است که یکی صبح گفته بخور، یکی هم شب. این برای مخصوص برای گیس است.
There is 2 types of medications. One, I take 2 in the morning, 2 at lunchtime, and 2 at dinner time, at night time. And there's also another one that I take 2, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. Both of them are for stomach. Ardush برای معده است.
هردی برای میده.
دو
برای
صبح،
غیر دوای
دو
صبح و غیر
چاشت.
دوای خواب.
دو صبح، دو چاشت، دو شب.
او یک رقمش هست که 6 دانه میخوریم، یک رقم دیگه هست که یک دانه صبح میخوریم، یک دانه شب میخوریم.
There's 2 types. One I take 6 a day, another one I take 2 a day.
And these are all for his stomach.
و آتامش برای معده است.
برای میدی مزبالی برای اعصاب برای دیگه کس دیگه دواست.
Yes, they are for my stomach, and for my psychotic, my brain is the
Barajal,
other one. And for
barajal.
sleeping is the other one.
Okay? Tell me about the one for your brain.
میگه دوای مغز بگو، دوای اعصابت.
دوای اعصاب ما دو دانه شب گفته بخور وقت خواب.
For the psychotic one, for my brain, the doctor told me to take it at night time. گفتم شب بخور.
دو دانه گفته شب بخور، یک دانه صبح بخور، دو تا شب.
یکی صبح، دو تا شب.
بله.
Told me to take 1 in the morning and 2 at night.
And what is this for?
و این برای چی است؟
این برای اعصاب است.
It's for my brain, for my psychotic.
What does the doctor say is wrong with your brain?
دکتر چی گفته؟ با اعصابت چی خراب است؟
اعصابت میگه فکر خراب میشه فکر. یعنی تکلیف میدی است، میگن تکلیف گیس است که سرت میزنه، این دوا رو بخور که اگر فکر خوب نکنه.
It's the gas from your stomach affects your brain to operate properly. So it affects your brain.
What does the doctor call this sickness?
دکتر این مرض چی یاد کرده؟
برای ما چیز نگفت.
He didn't tell me.
برای ما چیز نگفت.
How long have you taken medicine for this?
چقدر وقت میشه که این دوا رو میخوری؟
1 سال گفتم 1 سال.
I told you 1 year.
And in that year, have you ever missed taking that medicine?
در جریان 1 سال اتفاق شده که مس کرده باشی، نخورده باشی.
دکتر ما کس هر سال 2 دفعه میره از هندوستان است دکتر ننگی نام داره میره هندوستان.
My doctor is name is Nangi. He goes to India twice a year
برای رخصتی که میره
for vacation.
اونمو واده گاهی رفتیم ازش گرفتیم گاهی که نبوده باز دیگه ما از دیگه دکتر ما تا نگرفتیم دعا برزی که دکتر فامیلی ماست.
When he goes to vacation, excuse me, وقتی که وقتی که نباشه پیش دکتر که میگیریش؟
نه دیگه پیش دکتر دیگه نداره.
When he's not here, I don't go to anybody else to take that medication.
How long would you go without that medication?
تا چه مدت میتونی که بدون از دوا زندگی کنی یعنی باشی؟
بدون دوا ما بسیار طاقت کنم یک روز 2 روز زیاد نمیتونم.
The longest I could hold of it is maybe 1 or 2 days.
And then what happens?
و باز چی گپ میشه؟
اصلا خراب میشه نفس گیس پیدا میشه میدیم.
And I just control. No, it's difficult. This part. It's difficult. Just give me a second. The gas affects my thought or my thinking, my brain. So I can't control. I can't. No, not the word control. Excuse me. Not that mecham. I cannot think properly.
What else does it do?
میگه دیگه چی میکنم؟ وقتی که گفتم وقتی که دوا وقتی گاز پیدا میشه من درست فکر نمیکنم. همین چیز؟
فکر من خراب میشه.
فکر من خراب میشه. I just lose my thought of train of thought or
yes.
That's the word.
And then what happens?
و باز چی میشه؟
باز شب حتی خوابم نمیبره.
Even at night I can't fall asleep.
And what else happens?
و باز چی گپ میشه؟
باز دیگه چیز نه تا صبح بگم تو گیلاس دوغ تر میکنم دوغ میخورم اگه خواب برد نبود بگم تو میچینم تا صبح.
And then I just make a glass of it's a kind of drink called dough.
از ماست چی میگن؟
It's made of yogurt, so you just put water on it and shake it, like mix it together,
yes.
And that's called dough. So I just make one of that and drink it.
And that helps?
So کمک میکنه برد؟
بسیار کم.
Very little.
What else happens?
دیگه چی گپ میشه؟
دیگه ولی تا شب تیر میکنم تا صبح دیگه.
I just spend the night like that till daylight.
Nothing else happens?
دیگه چیزی که واقعا رخ نمیده؟
نه خواب نمیبره.
So I don't fall asleep.
نفقات پیدا میشه گیس پیدا میشه خواب نمیبره فکر من خراب میکنه.
I produce more gases in the stomach and I don't fall asleep.
Okay. But other than the gases and losing your train of thought, nothing else happens to you?
غیر از اینکه گاز پیدا میشه و فکرت خراب میشه دیگه چیز نمیشه.
نه دیگه
No.
خواب نمیبره.
I don't fall asleep.
That's all?
تمام میشه.
آباد.
Yes.
And how long would you go without falling asleep?
The detective is griping on this point because even if it doesn't make him violent to not be on the medication, lack of sleep can cause many problems, including irritability and aggression. So even if they can't show that the lack of a psychotic medication made him lash out violently, they are trying to show that he could still be lashing out from lack of sleep. He had said he was taking the medications regularly, so the point is kind of moot. However, this questioning does warm up a suspect, so to speak, to be asked further questions since they are in a rhythm of answering questions. Like, the suspect clearly doesn't understand that they're trying to get a motive out of him, so he's just answering away, believing all the questions to be innocent.
تا چه وقت خانه این بره؟
قطع زمین سر شب تا صبح دیگه من باز 1 ساعت یا نیم ساعت خواب میکنم دیگه.
From the beginning of the night till morning, maybe I'll sleep probably 1 hour or half an hour.
So you're more tired then?
پس بسیار خسته میباشی.
تکلیف است دیگه تکلیف بیماری است که نمی چیز برای من پیش میکنه.
this is this is the problem that causes me. It brings about this kind of tiredness.
Does it make you sick?
My
To throw up? To vomit?
مجبورشید که مثلا مریض استفراغ بکنیم.
بله بسیار تستر فشار می حتی صبحی میخیرم دانم زار و تخت می باشه.
It causes me to vomit, but also in the morning when I wake up, my mouth is so bitter.
Bitter.
Bitter. B-I-T-T-E-R.
Yes.
Bitter. Is that how it's pronounced?
That's exactly, yes, thank you. But nothing else.
Yes, it's there. No.
When you came to the police station,
وقتی شما به استیشن پلیس آمدین،
they told me
اون رو بر من گفتن
on this report
در این راپور
that you were involved in a car accident.
که خودت در تصادف ترافیکی
بله.
بودی. Yes.
تصادف
And you have a sore leg.
و پای درد میکنه.
یک اجازه بدین من تصادف ترافیکی یک مکمل بگویم.
Please allow me to explain this traffic accident.
Please.
ما از اسکاربرو می آمدم.
I was coming from Scarborough
هایوی
on the highway.
در طرف دستراس خط اول.
On my right hand, on the first lane,
در کلکتر نه در اسپرس.
not on the collector, but on the express.
Yes.
می آمدم ماشین موتر دفعتا سلو شد بیخ از چی مانده از سرعت مانده.
موتر خودت؟
بله خودم سر جا بودم.
I was driving. Just suddenly, my engine just got slowed down.
ما امرجنسی خود دادم روشن کردم و اشاره طرف دستراس خود دادم موتر میخواستم که دیگه خط امرجنسی سم استارت کنم که پشتر میاد گرباس.
I turned on the signal, the emergency signals, and wanted to go to the emergency lane. And on the back, I heard Gharabas.
وقت یک بام که در موترم بکفم کفی.
It was like exploded, like it was like the sound was like a bomb explosion.
یعنی مغز سرم یک دفعه از جایش به جای شد بیهوش شدم پس آمدم به جایش.
My brain just got out of my head and just came back inside, and I shaking.
وقتی چشم واز کردم کمربندم اینجا وار کردم اینجا قبرقیم کمربند وار کردم.
When I opened my eyes, my belt just hurt my ribs. This side.
و همین چشم باز کردم دروازه رو باز کردم دیدم که موتر آمبولانس پلیس تیار است.
When I opened my eyes, I noticed the ambulance and the police.
موتر آمبولانس پلیس تیار بود تا شدم مرا در موتر آمبولانس انداختن پیش روی ما دیدم که موتر نه این بغل دیدم موتر نه اون طرف دیدم که یک ترک کمی زده من تا خورده در سرک این درمی دست میرفته که این بغل من که طرف در دستراسم اولا پیش سر زده یکی بام به موتر در چت بلند کرد دروازه پیش سر پرانده دروازه بغل پرانده
ترک از پیش سر زده؟
از پیش سر زده
ترک جای دیگه رفته؟ با خود دیگه جای
وقتی که زده مرا
Excuse me one minute, I have to know. Can you think I said something about Gambas?
گفتم برم باز شد
I said that there was Gambas noise.
بام واره
It's like a bomb.
ما این مغز سرم به جای شد پس در جایش آمد
My brain was just displaced and came back.
یکی بیهوش شدم یک دفعه
I
پس
was
در
just
هوش آمد
unconscious and I came back.
وقتی که به هوش آمدم
When I became conscious,
بلت آواز کردم اینک در چشمی بوده اینکای با دبوتر ماندم تا شدم که پلیس استاد است
I opened my belt and I got my glasses
آمبولانس
and I saw the ambulance and police too.
دیگه من نمیفهم که آمبولانس کی خواسته بوده کی گفته بوده ایشه مقصد آمبولانس هم فوری رسیده من بسیار تشکر میکنم از آمبولانس که رسید برای من آمبولانس شفاخانه.
I don't know who called the ambulance, but I say thank you. Whoever called the ambulance was present there.
و تا شدم دیدم که در پیش روی ما موتر نیست در بغل ما نیست
When I got off, I didn't see any car in front of me, on this side of me.
اینی ترک کاملا بودم تو این قدر از موتر من در اینجا بود از این اینجا این تو دور خورده بود بیخیری خود طرف ترک کوسو میره پس اون خود ایسا طرف بره ما اون ترک دیدم با چشم.
Okay, slowly. I said, track آمده بود.
ترک از پشتر مرا زده بودک.
The track hit me from behind.
بغل دست راستم هم زده بود. دست راستم
hit me on my right side.
بازم تو آمده بود پیش رفته بود بسیار پیش تو دور خورده این مثل این دیوار دور خورده.
It went all the way in, like ahead and then turned like this.
Like the tape recorder.
Mr. Tape recorder.
این مثل دور خورده بود. من ترک دیدم منطقه کپ پایه موترم بیز کپم. طرف من ترکم بودم سرک افتاده بودک. موتر ما جای به جای در دو تریشه تو بودک استارت شده بودک.
Okay, I noticed my vehicle's wheel caps.
Yes.
Was just نزدیک موتر ترک بود.
نه این طرف. پای طرف موتر.
Was on this side and دیگه چی بازو؟
دیگه چیز ما ندیدم فقط.
And then I didn't see anything else.
باز ما در شفاخانه رفتم دیگه ما گفتن نمیتونم چرا ما قبل فکر اصلا نبوده که نیم ساعت بعد پلیس آمد یا زیادتر یا کمتر.
Okay. When I went to the hospital, I can't say this for sure. When it was half an hour or 1 hour, the police came.
امبولانس برد مرا. باز پلیس آمد.
Ambulance took me, and after that the police came.
من سر بستر بودم.
And I was on the bed.
پلیس از من سوال.
On a stretch. بستر stretch.
سر چپرکت.
I was on the bed.
مریض.
I was on the patient's bed.
And what did the police say happened?
پلیس برای خود چی گفت؟ چی واقع شد؟
پلیس مرا گفت که تو ما کیلومتر تام دیدیم که 20 کیلومتر میرفتی و امرجنسی تام روشن بود ما گفت ندیدم گفت برای ما همه تو گفته شده.
The police told me that I saw your speedometer was 20 kilometers and also I was told that your emergency light was on.
و دیگه ای که ترا این انشورنس از این موتر ترک گرفته براتان اینو مشتاق کنین انشورنس تا خودت نشان بده من انشورنس ما نشان دادم لیسانس ما نشان دادم تمامش یک قاعده مشتاق برای من داد که دیگه پیش نگاه کو.
He told me that he got insurance from the truck driver and he told me that he got my insurance and he wrote some معلوماتی که لازم بود داشته کرد.
این چی فقط تنها انشورنس از اون مشتاق کرده بود از بار مشتاق لیسانس از اون و لیسانس مرا نمره موترشه.
Okay. I will just repeat again. His insurance and my insurance, his driver license and my driver license,
number plate
and also the plate number.
As
written on a piece of paper, gave it to me. The police officer gave it to me.
دو نفر پلیس.
There was 2 police officers.
منتها ما انگلیسی رو نمیفهمیدم که می دست خودم تو کردیم که مثلا می دست میرفتم دیگه می دست میرفتم واقعا من بودم.
I didn't know English. I was just saying that I was going this way and on this lane and this lane.
Did they make sure you were okay?
و بگم خوب چک کردن مطمئن شدن که خودت جور هستی؟
ما در بستر بودم دیگه من یک شب یک روز ماندم در همون شبش که ساعت 1 بجه شب مرا آوردن چیزی کم 1 بجه بود همون شب ماندم روز ماندم و هیچ کس از ما خبر نداشته که هیچ کس از واقع خبر نداشت بعد ساعت 5 بجه تلفن کردیم برچه تلفن کردیم که جواب نگفته بعد ساعت 5 بجه باز مرا گرفته بردن در تداوی ما چی کردن امضای مرا گرفتن در ماشین درو کردن عکس سر مرا گرفتن عکس جانم مرا این بردن
با ساعت 1 بجه خود بردن نه؟ 1 بجه
یک چیزی کم یک بود بله در شفاخانه که بودیم چند یک چیز
It was around 1 o'clock that they got me
ساعت
from the
مسایی
hospital.
نکردیم
I didn't see the watch.
Okay, hold up. How in the world is the answer to, did the officers ask if you were okay, this long? Like, Mans really has a story he wants to get out here, and he is going to say it whether or not it pertains to the question. Sheesh! He has done that a few times so far, and it's wild every time.
Around 1 o'clock, and after they took me there, have to ask again because I don't want to say something wrong.
Please.
To the best of my ability. معذرت میخوام
بله.
کوتاه بگین که بتونم
خب،
درست
خب،
تشریح
خب.
کنم. نمیخوام چیز اضافه
صحیح
بکنم.
صحیح
با ساعت 1 بجه شما رو باشم خانه بردن. بعد از اون
شفاخانه که بودم 1 بجه بودم.
اوکی بعد از اون
باز مرا فقط تنها سیروم تیر کردن دیگه هیچی ندادن.
after they took me to the hospital at 1 o'clock they gave me what's that liquid called? Glucose liquid they insert to you. What's that called?
What does he call it?
Serum.
سیروم.
That's fine.
Yeah, serum.
خرده پلاستیکی کرد.
Intravenous.
Okay.
Yeah. So they gave me the intravenous. Okay, دیگه.
باز نانم برای من دادن.
They didn't give me any food.
این فقط تا ساعت شام ساعت 4 بجه بود هر چی گفتم برکی یک کل گفتم همین نمره رو بگین
چند؟ 4 بجه صبح یا دیگر؟
4 بجه دیگر
Up to until 4 p.m. the next day.
باز گفتن که تو یعنی قاعد امضا کن که ما سر عکس تو را میگیریم
They told me they requested me to sign on this paper so we could take picture or X-ray of your head.
و خود ما میشی نمیفهمیدم اونجا یک گندی بوده اما قدم گفتم میشه که تو کتبه برو که اینا چی میگن که ما بو کارو بکنم
I couldn't speak English, so there was an Indian. I asked them to go with me and see what they were saying. So
و مریض داشته که دختره که خودش مریض بوده
they also had a patient there.
یا پالیما بوده
They were just beside me.
How long have you been driving for?
در چند سال میشه که درایو میکنی میگه؟
ما تخمینا یک 40 سال میشه
About 40 years.
How old are you now?
چند سال است؟
60 و 61 سال چیزی که از 60 بلند است من
Over 60, about 61.
Now,
ما لیسنس افغانستان دارم لیسنس هندوستان دارم لیسنس از اینجا دارم
I have Afghani license, I have Indian license, and also have Canadian license.
و
Driver license, I mean.
و در هندوستان در یک شفاخانه کار میکردم که از آمبولانس گرفته تا هر قسم موتر ما چلاندیم در افغانستان دست راست چلاندیم در هندوستان دست چپ چلاندیم باز در اینجا کامل پس دست راست چلاندیم
I had I was in the India where I was working in the hospital. I could drive any vehicle, so I had the permission to drive any vehicle. In Afghanistan, we were driving on the right side. In India, they were driving on the left side. Here in Canada, we're driving on the right side.
so you're a good driver.
بس شو driver خوب هستی.
بله تا امروز هم کنم تصادم نکردیم این تصادم هم که شده پلیس نوشته نکردن نه ما کنم تکت داده نگفتن قصوری تو منتها صبح بچه‌م کامد تا بچه ما ساعت 4 نیم بجه بود کامده بعد از اینکه ما رفتیم کاسی سر ما تمام شکن بچه ما آمد ما گفتیم اینیم بریم در انشورنس که نشان بدیم که گناه از من نیست پشت من نگردیم ما هستم بستر هستم اینجا
Yes, I was a good driver, and up to today, I didn't have any accident nor had any tickets. And I told my sons when they came, I told them to take this information to the insurance and talk to them. And the police didn't. Police charge nakada.
نه
The police didn't charge me.
منتها بچه ما کرده ببخشید بچه ما گرفته بود که پلیس گفته 4 رخصت گرفته نیسته که پلیس
When my sons went there, they said the police officer went to vacation. It's 4 days not here.
You have children?
خود طفل داری؟ اطفال داری؟
بله
Yes.
You said sons. How many sons?
خود گفتی بچه ها چند تا بچه؟
2 بچه
2 sons.
Do you have daughters?
دخترها داری؟
بله
Yes.
How many?
چند تا؟
4 تا دختر
4
4.
daughters
Yes.
and 2 sons?
میگه 4 دختر و 2 بچه؟
بله
Yes.
Do they all live in Canada?
تمامشون به کانادا زندگی میکنن؟
بله
Yes.
Do they live with you?
همه خود زندگی میکنن؟
همراه خودم بله
Yes.
All of them?
تمامشون همه خود زندگی میکنن؟
بله
Yes.
How do I properly pronounce your name?
من چطور میتونم نام خودت درست تلفظ بکنم؟
نام مرا
بله. My name?
Yes.
بله.
Muhammad Peer Muhammad.
My name is Peer Muhammad.
Peer Muhammad?
Yes.
Is Muhammad your family name?
Muhammad
خانواده تخلص خیری است.
My
Peer
last
Muhammad
name,
Khairi.
my last name is Khairi. Peer Muhammad Khairi.
Now, how do I spell Khairi?
چطور من خیری را سپل میکنم هجا میکنم نوشته میکنم.
اونو من نمیفهمم. خطا نمیفهمم.
I don't know how to write.
That's fine.
It's okay.
Can I call you Peer Muhammad?
میتونم خودت صدا بکنم پیر محمد.
بله.
Yes.
Thank you.
The detective is all about the rapport building, huh? He asks for permission and then thanks him after, showing respect towards Pete. He's looking at him while he says it and even does a slight head nod forward. I think he realizes how much P wants to be in command, and he's granting him that in order to get P to continue to talk to him, even when the questions become about the crime.
تشکر.
و اونا تاوال مسئله اونا شرونز ما والم است نه تاوال دادن محترم پیکاپ پرچه افتادن اونجا تمام چیز در موبایل محترم هیچ کس پرسان مرا نکرده.
So far, we don't know anything about my insurance. My car is just down there, and nobody just asked me anything about it.
فوری موتر تو ترک آمدن موتر مرا فوری گرفته برده موتر ترک رفته پس دجا خود.
And the tow truck just immediately the tow truck came and towed my vehicle and just went to his place again.
و غیر ما و موتر ترک دیگه هیچ کس نبوده هایوی دیگه هیچ موتر نبوده.
There was no any other vehicle on the highway except me and the tow truck.
برای نه تو ترک نه ترک که مرا زده.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Except me and the truck, not tow truck.
برای
My
اگر
apologies.
دیگه موتر می بوده اون ساعت همین ترک امکان داره که 3-4 موتر دیگه هم میزه.
If there were any other vehicle, there was a possibility of this truck could have had other vehicles too. Okay.
And this was on the highway?
Were the highway with me?
بله.
Yes.
401? Highway 401?
Highway Chosiliak?
بله چاسه.
Yes, 401.
When you came to Canada, did you have to take a driver's test?
میگه وقتی خود به کانادا آمدی بعد از درایور تست باید بگیری یا نه؟
Even-
امتحان دریوری رو باید بگیری؟ مختار لایسنس؟
آها چرا نه؟
Yes, why not?
And did you have to write a test?
میگه تو باید یک امتحان بعد از نوشته باید بکنی یعنی تحریری که داشته باشی؟
برای ما چی درسش خواندیم کورس چی لاهای ترافیک چی داره خواندیم پای چیشه دارم سبتکتش دارم و که بر امتحان رفتیم در امتحان چند دفعه ناکام ماندیم و دو کامیاب شدیم.
Yes, I have the science, I know the science, and also a number of times I got the certificate from there, and also I got a number of times failed. Eventually I passed.
Your phone number at your home,
تلفون در خانه
what is it?
چی است؟
نمیشم.
I don't know.
Don't know?
No.
But he has a telephone at home?
مگم در خانه تلفن داری؟
بله.
Yes.
تلفن خانه است موبایل ندارم موبایل نیست.
It's a
سلفون
home.
نیست سلفون.
It's a home phone number. It's home phone. I don't have cell phone.
Okay. Today,
امروز
you used the telephone,
خودت تلفن کار گرفتی.
yes?
ها؟ Yes.
You called the police.
و خودت به پلیس زنگ زدی.
بله.
Yes.
Tell me why you called the police.
برای بگو که چرا به پلیس زنگ زدی.
حالا باز ما بیرون وکیل ما چطور گپ بزنیم چطور بکنیم؟
Now again, how should I
چیزی
speak
که گفته
without my
گفتنی-
lawyer? The thing that I was supposed to say, I said.
Right, exactly. You should not answer those questions without a lawyer, but you should also not have answered any of the previous questions up until now either.
But it was you who called 911.
مگه می خودت بودی که به پلیس زنگ زدی؟
ولی اون 911 نمیفهمم قدر نمیفهمم دیگه جاف نمبر نمیفهمم.
Yes, I know. The only thing I know is 911. The rest I don't know.
But it was you who called 911 today.
مگه می خودت بودی که به پلیس زنگ زدی؟
بله.
911 امروز زنگ زدی. Yes.
Because of something that happened at your home.
مثلا یک چیزی که در خانه خودت واقع صورت گرفت.
واقعا من نمیفهمم. من فکر به جای من نبوده که من قرار چی کنم گفتم فوراً بیاین دیگه. ماست باز کنم گپ دیگه نشه.
I don't know the incident. All I said is just come here, come on in. That is, excuse me. بیاین چی شده؟
بیاین گفتم ببینیم که چی گفت.
Come on in and watch, see what happens. Or what's the matter?
And what was the matter?
و چی گپ بود میگه؟
ما دیگه زیاد نمیتونم گفته بدون چی بکنم. من نه سرم دوست نه من خراب است.
I cannot say anything without my lawyer. Right now I'm fainting.
نه سرم دوست ما نه خاموش بیشتر.
I'm getting the sweat and also fainting.
Because you're upset.
And that right there is how the detectives use what you tell them against you. And also how it gets twisted for the juries. They are going to point out how you had no problem talking about all that other stuff, and you even went into deep detail about the car accident, which would also be classified as a traumatic event. All of that will make it easier for them to convince a jury that the reason you didn't speak now is because you are guilty and you are showing all the physiological signs of stress.
نه خب نیستم من حال ندارم خراب نشدم دوام من خوردیم کار.
No, I'm not upset. It's because I didn't eat and also I didn't take my medication.
My officers tell me that you ate earlier.
Bam! Confrontation when the detective hasn't really been that way the entire time. This will make the suspect uncomfortable, along with fortifying the jury if they do see the interrogation. It's a really good play by the detective, and it's very efficient even though it is manipulative. This is why you refuse to answer every question. Those detectives laid the bait and he's stuck in the trap.
به من افسرم گفت که خودت امروز نان خورده بودی پیشتر.
فقط ساعت 2 بجه 3 بجه بوده که دکتر یک چی آوردن برای ما که یک گلاس چی جوس.
2 بجه PM or AM? صبح چاش تا صبح؟
چاش.
چی آوردن برای خود؟
ساعتای 3 بجه بوده یا 4 بجه دیگه قصات پیش
چی
من
آوردن؟
دو تا در کاغذ دو تا برتوار یک چیز بود در مابینش من چون چی بود نمیفهمیدم.
At 2 PM or 3 PM they brought something in the paper. I ate that.
Yes.
که یک گلاس جوس.
And 1 glass of juice.
Did you need something to eat? Do you have headaches from not eating?
میگه خود می سردردی داری وقتی که نان نخوردی؟
سردردی چی به کی سرم جفت نه تکلیف معده دارم.
Not only headache, also I get fainting right now, get dizzy.
When you called the police, you told them to come to your home.
وقتی می خود به پلیس زنگ زدی برای گفتی که بیا خونه‌تون بیا. پلیس.
من گفتم که تا که وکیلیم نباشم این موضوع رو من گفته نمیتونم. وکیلیم که آمد من کل موضوع رو میگم برش.
I said until my lawyer is not here, I cannot talk. When he comes, I will say anything.
But the conversation that you had with 911.
مگه مو صحبتی که خودت امروی 911 داشتی؟
من زبان نمیفهمیدم چی بگویم من.
I didn't know the language. What should I say?
But you know that this conversation is recorded.
میفهمی که این صحبتی که خودت امروی 911 داشتی این ثبت شده.
درست است من خبر ندارم. من خبر ندارم.
Yes, I don't know about that.
I'm telling you now, it is recorded.
معال برات میگم که این ثبت شده.
درست است من نمیفهمم خبر ندارم.
I don't know. Yes.
از ثبتش من خبر ندارم چرا پیشوی من ثبت نشده.
I don't know about it. It's been recorded. It's not been recorded in front of me.
ثبت کردن ریکاردینگ کردن نوک کردن دیگه هرچی کردن.
If they recorded whatever they did it.
Yes.
بله.
But when I listen
مگه وقتی که گوش کردمش
to your voice,
به صدای خودت
talking to the operator,
امرای آپریتور گپ میزدی
and talking to the translator or the interpreter on the telephone.
و امرای انترپرتر ترجمان که تلفن گپ میزدی
بله.
You told
Yes.
you told the operator through the interpreter
خودت بر آپریتور با واسطه ترجمان گفتی
that you spoke Hindi.
که خودت هندی گپ میزدی
Another confrontation on a lie. This is 2 confrontations back to back about lies which the suspect has made. He said he didn't eat, but then he admits he ate around 2 to 3, which is only 1 to 2 hours ago. And then you confront him on the fact that he spoke Hindi. Yikes, this is not looking good for P. If he continues to try and defend his stance, it will allow the detective to use more against him. But if he stops talking, it makes him look guilty. He's on a double-edged sword right now, but he should become and remain silent, like he should have done from the start.
این دیو ما قدر گفتم که شما بیاین بس دیگه زیاد نمیتونستم گفته نمیتونست اگر من میتونستم ما تمام شکم اینجا اومده بودم میگفتم و حالا میگفتم چرا وکیل میخواستم من چرا شما را تکلیف میدادم شما چرا میآمدین
I told him to excuse me I have to go back again
Please.
معذرت میخوام
بله.
کوتاه باید که من بفهمم درست
گفتم
نفهمیدم.
اگر من میفهمیدم سه این دیگه
If I knew Hindi properly
بردی ما تمام گپ میگفتم هیچ
I would have told them everything.
دیگه ای که شما تا وقت کار چی گفتن من گفتم من نمیفهمم دیگه نمیفهمم زیاد نمیفهمم از این
And that they talk, I told them that I do not know too much.
و دیگه ای که باز خودتان چی کردن که کدام زبان تو میفهمی مرا گفتن ما گفتم دریره
Then they asked me, what language do you speak? I told them Dari.
Okay. But you told them if they came to your home, you would tell them what happened to your wife.
من بهشون گفتی که وقتی که اگه به خانه‌ت بیای خود بهشون میگی که به خانمت چی واقعا صورت گرفت. I don't know.
You don't remember that?
ایره
دیگه به خاطر نداری؟
بدون وکیل ما هیچ چیز گفتن نمیتونم
Without my lawyer, I can't say anything.
So you don't remember this conversation?
Please, این گپ میگه به یاد نداری؟ به یادت نیست؟
چی؟
What?
The conversation with the 911 operator.
یعنی صحبتی که با 911 کرده.
ما چیزی که یادشون گفتیم دیگه زیاد چیز نگفتیم
Whatever I knew, I said. I didn't say anything else.
But you said if the police didn't come, you would kill someone else.
خودت گفتی که اگر پلیس نبیه خودت کسی دیگر رو میکشی.
نگفتیم
No, I didn't say.
No.
No.
What were the words that you used?
کدام لغت‌ها رو بود که خود کار گرفتی؟
ما فقط صرف گفتیم که چیز بیاین اگر نبیاین بر خودم یک واقع پیش میشه که خودم را از بین میبرم
I said, تیز بیاین, come fast. اگر نبیاین, if you do not come, there will be یک واقع دیگه سرما میشه. There will be another incident on me.
Oh, no. Firstly, don't try and defend that statement. It's really, really bad. Secondly, your defense of that statement is piss poor and honestly isn't very different from what they said you said. It looks no better to say you will hurt yourself like you hurt your wife. Yikes. I mean, this detective knows exactly what to say to get you to speak up. All he has to do is say that there was a mistake in your statement and you immediately jump to correct him. This is all just not good. But also, it makes sense that someone who is as arrogant as him would want to set the record straight and have the final say. He's digging his own grave.
I don't understand that.
من نفهمیدم.
ما این چیزی که هستن دیگه ما دیگه چی گفتن نگفتیم اگر گفتم تیز بیاین پلیس سر از اون طول داد بسیار وقت داد
I didn't say anything else. I just said تیز بیاین means come fast. Still they come late.
که نبیاین سر خودم یک واقع پیش میشه
If you do not come fast, there'll be something happening on me.
What?
چی؟
کاندر خودم از بین میرفتم
perhaps I would have been wasted.
What does wasted mean?
شما را با خودم از بین میرفتم.
از کدام جایی منداختم خودم چه اصلا ما درست نبود فکر ما درست نبود.
Perhaps I would have maybe would jump somewhere, like from top to bottom to like some. I would have maybe throw away myself somewhere down.
Why?
چرا؟
دیگه فکر ما درست نبوده.
My thought was not thinking at that time. I wasn't thinking properly.
Why?
چرا؟
ما مریضی دارم گفت مریض هستم.
I say that I am sick. I have a problem.
What kind of sick?
چه قسم مریضی؟
تکلیف اعصاب یک دفعه اعصاب خراب میشه.
My the problem with my brain. Suddenly I lose control.
You told me earlier that makes you not be able to sleep.
پیشم میخواد گفتی که خواب نمیبرید.
نمیبریم بله.
Yes, I don't fall asleep.
خواب نمیبریم اعصاب خراب میشه. خواب نبریم اعصاب خراب میشه.
But if I don't fall asleep, I get asab kharab means I get I lose my thought. I can't think properly. I get just give me 1 second. There's a word I can't say that word. Try to remember asab kharab. Very angry.
Did you get very angry yesterday?
میگه دیروز بسیار قار شده بودی؟
بله.
دیروز بسیار قار شده بودی؟
دیروز؟
دیروز not yesterday.
Today?
امروز؟
امروز.
Yes.
It did not take very long for the detective to ask you the same question different ways before you caved and started answering questions you know you shouldn't be answering. Yikes. You are not good at invoking your right to remain silent.
Why?
چرا؟
شب خواب نبریم دوا کنیم که وضع خراب میشه.
I said if at night I don't fall asleep, I can't control myself.
So he gets angry?
پس خود قار میشی باز؟
بله.
پس خود قار میشی باز؟
فکرم خراب میشه. فکر خراب.
I just can't think.
And that's what happened today?
امروز صورت گرفت؟
امروز فکرم خراب شد.
Today I just lost my thought.
Who was home when this happened?
کی در خانه بود وقتی که صورت گرفت؟ کی در خانه بود ابی واقع صورت گرفت؟
سوال من جواب گفته برام کلشن.
Should I answer all these questions?
We've already discussed his it's up to him to answer. It's up to him to decide.
قبلا با خود صحبت کردیم گفتیم تصمیم به دست خودت است.
اون چیزی که ما گفتیم اون بر پلیس کلش اون معلومه دیگه من بعضی چیزا حتی پلیس بسیار تال داد.
Whatever I said already, the police knows about it. The police came late. Okay.
And what happened?
What you were I don't know the incident.
واقعا تا وکیلم نباشه ما گفتن نمیتونم.
Until my lawyer is not here, I can't say anything.
You don't know what happened to your wife?
نمیفهمید با خانم چی واقعا شد گرفت.
وکیلم نباشه من نمیتونم.
Until my lawyer is not here, I can't say anything.
But you made the call to 911.
مگه خودت برای 911 زنگ زدی؟ Yes.
And it was only you and your wife at home.
تنها خودت و خانمت در خانه بودین.
بود بچه من بود بچه برآمد بچه کلامه.
My elder son was there, but he got out.
When this was happening?
وقتی که چیز صورت گرفت؟
بله.
وقتی که چیز صورت گرفت؟
چی صورت گرفت؟
What happened?
You know your wife is dead.
میفهمی که خانمت مرده.
تا بالا خبر ندارم.
I don't know it till now.
Nobody told you your wife is dead.
برای تو کس نگفته که خانمت مرده؟
نه برای من تا بالا کسی.
No.
You never saw your wife on the bed.
می خود خانم تا بستر ندیدی؟
بله
خانم تا در بستر ندیدی؟ در تخت
من در
ندیدی؟
بستر دیدم دیگه من مردهش خبر نداشتم.
I saw her on the bed, but I didn't know about her death.
You know that she was killed today in your apartment.
می خود میفهمی که امروز در آپارتمان خود کشته شده.
ما پیشتر برای من گفتیم که تا که چیت نباشه و کلیت نباشه تو هیچ گپ
You told me
نزن.
that
چرا باز
until,
ما چرا میکنین اگر بدون وکیل میخواین که ما گپ بزنم
you told me that till your lawyer is not here, don't talk.
I told him that.
میگم ما باید گفتیم
در تلفن برای ما گفتن.
and the telephone you told me.
We never spoke on the telephone.
میگم ما در تلفن گپ
You and
نزدیم.
I never spoke on
درست
the
است صحیح است
telephone.
من
مگر شما هم میگم
نفهمیدم صحیح است کسی که برای من گفت هرچی که پلیس بر تو میگه تنها نشان انگشته میتونه گرفته جان تا عکسایی که میگیره میتونه گرفته.
Okay. The person who spoke to me on the phone,
Yes.
he told me that only the police could take your fingerprints.
Okay, just
Yes,
stop,
sir.
please. This is a conversation with the lawyer, yes?
همین صحبت که همراه وکیل بود.
بله
Yes.
That's private.
میگه او private است، خصوصی است.
نمیفهم دیگه
That's
I don't
between.
know.
Okay, I'm telling you.
من برات میگم.
Your conversation with your lawyer
صحبتت همراه وکیلت
is just for you and your lawyer and your interpreter.
The detective said, whoa, 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 don't tell me about privileged conversations. That might mess up the interrogation from being allowed into evidence for the jury to see, since that would be infringing upon your rights. No, keep quiet. This is the one thing we want you to remain silent on.
صحبتی که همراه وکیل داشتی مثل بین خودت وکیل و ترجمان است.
بله
Yes.
بله
Today,
امروز
did you go out?
خودت امروز بیرون رفتی؟
از کجا؟
From where?
From his home.
از خانه خود.
از خانه نی
No, not from my home.
Well, there goes your alibi. Good work not answering questions until your lawyer's present.
Not until the police arrived.
Not. نه تا وقتی که پلیس آمده بود. تا وقتی که پلیس رسید.
پلیس آمد من در خانه بودم پلیس با ما گرفت شانه بسته کرده بود.
Until the police arrived, I was at my home.
Oh,
Then
police.
they tie me out.
من در پشترم بسته کرد
They tie my hand behind me, and
مرا بودم
they brought me here.
How long before the police arrived at your home did your son leave?
تو چه وقت گرفت که تا پلیس به خانه شما بیاین و بچه از خانه بره؟
بچه من تخمینا اگم 15-20 دقیقه پیش برام بودم.
My son got out of home almost about 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes.
Before the police.
قبل از پلیس.
قبل از پلیس سال داد پلیس بسیار سال داد پلیس هیچ نمیخواست که بیایم میترسید که من کدام چیز از پیش من مرا میزنن یا کدام چیز سر من میکنن ما گفتم هیچ چیزی نیست بیاین شما ببینین.
Before the arrival of the police were scared. They came very, very late, and I told him, "Come on, there's nothing with me."
حتی پرسان کردن که دروازه خانه تا باز کو که باز ما بیاییم.
They asked me to open your door. We come in.
فقط هم دروازه خانه را باز کردم تا درای زینا استاد بود فهمچه دستش 3-4 تا او طرف استاد بود فوراً مرا گرفتن شانه‌مو بسته کردن هیچ دیگه مرا اجازه درون خانه ندادن که درون برم کشیدن مرا دیگه باز من نمیفهم.
When I opened the door, two persons, I mean officers, two persons went to the to the stairway. Three people.
روبروی استاد یک دختر بود یک پلیس دیگه.
There was one girl and one other police was on the other side.
She's not a girl, she's a police officer. She's in fact a full-grown adult woman, but that really goes to show his mentality towards women when he points out the fact that one of the officers is a girl. Why is that information even necessary? One girl and one fellow police? You mean one female and one male officer? Or one woman and one man officer? Or even one girl and one boy officer? Because then that would show that you just see the younger generation as children, and it wouldn't be a sexist comment. Ya nasty.
And they just pointing the gun towards me, and
فانچرا گرفتن که سایت بالا کو تاو تریت ما فورا تاو دادم روی من دستای من
told me to raise your hands and turn your head
دستای من
and they tied up my hands.
Your son who left, how old is he?
بچه خود که از خانه برآمده بود، از خانه برآمده بود، چند سال است؟
بچه من 32 سال است.
My son is 32 years old.
32?
32?
بله.
Yes.
What is that son's name?
نام اون بچه چی است؟
سخی آمد.
سخی احمد.
And you have another son?
با خود دیگه سن بچه‌م داری؟
بله بچه.
Yes, I have another son.
How old is he?
او چند سال است؟
بچه من است 20 سال است.
That son is 20 years old.
20?
20
بله.
Yes, 20.
And was he home today?
و امروز در خانه بود.
او وقت برآمده بود.
He got out earlier.
Do you know where he went?
میفهمی که کجا رفته؟
او در کالج رفته بود. کالج درس خوانده بود.
He went to college to study.
Okay. Where did your older son go?
بچه کلانت کجا رفت؟
نمیفهمم.
I don't know.
You have 4 daughters?
کار نمیکنه بیکار است که خبر ندارم.
Okay. Okay, let me save this one. خودت گفتی که 4 دختر داری؟
بله دو بچه.
پدرت چی گفتی که کار نمیکنه؟
بچه کلانم کار نمیکنه.
And come back to his point. Two things at the same time. So
Yes.
My older son doesn't work.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
about the daughters, you asked about the daughters.
You have 4 daughters.
And خودت 4 دختر داری؟
بله.
Yes, I have.
How old are they?
چند سال هستن؟
ترای من.
My daughters.
Yes.
بله.
یکیش این یک ماه بعد یا 2 ماه بعد 18 ساله میشه.
One is in the next 1 or 2 months will be 18 years old.
Yes.
18 ساله میشه.
18 years old.
18 ساله میشه.
18 years old.
3 of the girls are 18 years old?
نه دیگه دیگه عمرشان بر ما معلوم نیست چرا.
The rest I don't know.
کارتایش بخواین و بعد ببینیم.
Read their IDs and find out.
Wow. I guess I'm really not shocked that he doesn't care about his daughters since he's willing to do such horrendous things to his wife when she didn't do anything wrong, but damn, what the fuck? Honestly, that's so messed up that he doesn't know how old his daughters are or even their birthdays. 18 in 1 or 2 months. Okay, bitch, but you know your son's exact ages? You're gross.
Are they older or younger?
کلانتر هستن یا خودتر؟
کلان هستن.
They're older.
Do they work?
اونا کار میکنن؟
ولی کار میکنن.
Yes, they work.
All 4?
4شون؟
یک دخترم 3 تاش کار میکنه یکیش نمیکنه.
One of my daughter, 3 works, 1 doesn't work.
مکتب ما میخونن کارا میکنن.
They go to school and they go to work.
Were they home today?
اونا امروز خانه بودن؟
میدونم.
No, they were not.
When did they leave?
اونا چه وقت برآمدن از خانه؟
نه وقت برآمدن. ساعتای 9:30 بجه بود.
They got out earlier, around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
And do you remember what time your oldest son got out?
میگه برادری که بچه کلان چه وقت از خانه برآمدن؟
نه وقت فکر نیست. مثلا می واقع 15 دقیقه پیش برآمد.
No, I don't remember from this incident, maybe 15-20 minutes earlier.
15 or 20 minutes before this?
میگه 15-20 دقیقه پیشتر از این واقع؟
15 دقیقه.
15 minutes.
Well, that was a roundabout way of getting him to admit that it was only him and his wife in the house, but it worked. Does he not realize by saying everyone else was gone, it also means that her and him were the only two in the home at the time of the incident? Also, notice how the suspect keeps calling it the incident in order to separate himself from the fact that he murdered his wife.
Did anybody come to your house today?
امروز کس به خانه شما آمده بود؟
نه.
No.
So when your last son left,
وقتی که بچه آخرت از خانه برآمد، خانه رو ترک گفت،
only you were home
تنها خودت خانه بودی
and your wife was home.
و خانمت به خانه بود.
بله.
Yes.
And nobody came to the house.
و هیچ کسی به خانه نامد.
غیر پلیس دیگه کسی.
Except police, nobody else.
When your son left, your oldest son,
وقتی که بچه کلانت برآمد رفت،
where was your wife?
خانمت به کجا بود؟
ما دیگه دریافت نمیتونم گفته هیچ چیز. تا که وکیلیم نباشم چی گفته نمیتونم.
I
اگر
can't,
میخواین که مکمل از ما سوال کنین وکیل ما بخواین که من مکمل کلش بگویم براتون.
I cannot say anything else till my lawyer is not here. If you want anything, ask my lawyer to come here, then I will say everything.
That's a nice sentiment, but you already told them so much. Them asking for the location your wife was in is not as important as having you admit that you and your wife were the only ones there until the police arrived, at which point your wife was already dead, as told to you by the detective earlier. I don't know why you say you aren't going to answer and then you inevitably do. Part of it is the manipulative interrogation tactics, but the other part is your arrogance.
اون واقعی موتر که تکر کردم برای من معلوم بود تمام گپش براتون گفتم دیگه.
The car accident that I knew, I told you everything about that.
And you have a good memory of the car accident.
و خوب میگه درباره اکسیدنت موتر در یادت هست، خوب حافظه خوب داری.
اون چیزی که گفتم سر من مغزش بلند شد پس که در جایش آمد که آمدن که موتر آمبولانس استاد موتر آمبولانس من شفاخانه گرفتم.
That thing that I said that my brain got out and came back and I opened my eyes, the ambulance was there.
Yes.
بله.
But you remember the things that happened before your brain and after that happened, yes?
میگه بازم به خاطر داری واقعی که قبل از اینکه مثلا مغزت بالا رفت و پس بازی که پس آمد.
بله.
Yes.
This is again to show that he was fine remembering and describing one traumatic event, but then he is not okay with talking about this other traumatic event. Gives the prosecutor an easy puzzle to piece together for the jury.
So you have a good memory.
پس میگم حافظه خوب داری.
حافظه من نمیگه چیزی که ما دیدیم من واقعیت میگم دروغ نمیگم غلط نمیگم.
My memory is that what I saw, I told you, and I am telling the truth, nothing else.
You have a cut under your chin.
میگه چه میگه قطعی چیست؟
فول بایک که در اشترینگ نیست فول بایک کافی در اینجا زد سرم هم در چت خورد اینجا فول بایک کتمی خود توتا اشترینگ سر فول بایک کسانه که میکفه.
Okay, airbag.
ایربایک.
Okay.
ایربایک کافی در اینجا خورده اینجا کوک خورده اینجا کلش کوک خورده.
This is the airbag when exploded. It hit here and all the stitches here.
همسرم در سطح موتر خورد.
And my head just hit the ceiling of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And the airbag here.
And you still have stitches here?
و تا بالا میگه کوکا رو داری؟
این کوکاش مورد
Yes, you can see the stitches.
How many stitches did you get?
چند کوک گرفتی؟
خرم 3 کوک زده یک جایش زده باز دیگه جایش زده باز دیگه جایش.
I think 3 and
دیگه در
then
شفاخانه زدن
I
دکتر.
think 3 and there's another and they did this in the hospital.
Can I see your hands?
میتونم دستت ببینم؟
Can I see your hands? Really means, I'm looking for wounds that I may perceive as defense wounds from the victim and will document and question you on. If you're innocent, they may try and use cuts or bruises against you, especially if you don't remember where you got them. Like right now, I have a scratch on my arm, and I have no idea how I got it because I didn't feel it when I got it, and I only noticed when I went to lay in bed. But then if they could get an expert to analyze your marks and say, in their professional opinion, they believe the scratches were received during an altercation, boom! Now the jury thinks an innocent person is guilty. This is why you should always ask for a lawyer, invoke your right to remain silent, and make detectives get search warrants. You don't want to end up in prison as the innocent person because you were trying to cooperate and you got railroaded.
You have marks on your hands.
میگه دستت میگه چی داری؟ نشان داری.
اوگار شده اینجا.
Just got injured.
دمون اکسیدن موتر هم اینجا موگار شده. اینجا را کلی شک گرفت.
Car accident. They took picture
اینجا
of
موگار
this.
شده. اینجا موگار پای ما موگار شده پای ما.
And my foot also.
این پای من بود اوگار شد.
My foot also injured in the accident.
The interrogation cut off there, so I don't know what happened in the rest of it, but I think there were some very obvious manipulation tactics that were used by the detectives, and P said a lot of incriminating things. He also testified during his trials. If it's recorded, I might try and do that as another video, so if you guys want to see that and it's out there, let me know in the comments below. P was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to life with the possibility of parole after 15 years. He appealed for a new trial or to have parole in just 10 or 11 years, but the appeal court dismissed both and called his crimes horrendous, which they are. It's wild to me that someone really believes they are not to be held accountable for their actions because she made me angry with her words. So what? Grow up, you big baby. Yes, words can hurt, but it's not okay to physically retaliate at someone who hurt your feelings. Also, you called her a whore earlier in your relationship, so even if she did call you a pimp and your mom a whore like you're saying, it's not like you didn't say awful things to her too, yet she didn't kill you. Honestly, you're a disgusting person, and she's right. You have no honor, and you are a disgrace. A huge shout out to our Patreon producers, Jason and Taz, and Skylar James Wicker. All the support really helps the channel, and I appreciate all that you patrons do. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe if you want more interrogation breakdown and true crime content. How do you feel about this case? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks and have a wonderful day.